Thank you so much for staying with us. Now, former Ombudsman Advocate John Walters is awarded the Golden Order of Merit in recognition of his exceptional commitment to ombudsmanship nationally and internationally. Now, by the International Ombudsman Institute, Advocate Walters is the first African to be awarded the honor. He was appointed in Namibia's ombudsman on the 1st of July 2004 and served for 17 years until his retirement on 31st July 2021. Advocate Walters also served as the African Regional President of International Ombudsman Institute from 2009 until 2012 and was elected the first Vice President of the IOI in 2012 until 2014, when he became the President of the IOI until 2016. We are delighted to have him in studio, of course, this morning to talk about his journey and, of course, his awards. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. John Walters.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that you give me the opportunity to speak.
Absolutely. It's been a minute since we actually knocked at your door, of course, to talk to you about all things that are, of course, persisting in the country and, of course, what your help really needed as former ombudsman. But talk to us about, you know, the big thing that we are, of course, trying to talk to you about today, being honored as the Golden Order of Merit. How does this make you feel?
As a human being, and I believe it's universally that you will feel good,
of course,
appreciated. But, and I always put a but there, such awards must always be a reminder to you to keep your feet solid on the ground and don't boast about it and stay humble.
That's right.
That is what the award actually means to you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, if we go a little bit back in time, in 2018, you received the Honorary Life Member Award in 2018. Now, how has this recognition influenced your work and commitment of ombudsmanship?
Again, such an award during your tenure, it inspired you to for greater heights, to see how you can better your own office, how could you deliver a better service to your complainants and your fellow countrymen, how you can better the relations in your own environment and in your office. Right. But I was hastened to add, both awards is awarded to me personally. But man is no island. That's an old saying. I would never have achieved it if I did not have the assistance of a dedicated team of investigations, a dedicated support staff. While I was on my travelings, they keep running the office.
Absolutely.
And as much as this award is mine, I believe it belongs to each one in that office.
Absolutely. Would you say there are specific initiatives or projects or investigations that you've worked on or your office has worked on that maybe could have, you know, stands out as a highlight for what really brought this award to you as a Golden Merit Award winner?
I maintain it, and I will always maintain that we Namibians, we do not have reading culture. And even my annual, the ombudsman legislation compels the ombudsman to submit annual report to the National Assembly. In that report, he must tell the members of parliament, the broader Namibian nation, on what he did with the money he received and how he looked after the rights of citizens. Never in these 17 years was I called to appear before the standing committee of the National Assembly to defend, if I can use the word, my report, to defend how I spent public money. And no, and the Ombudsman report is a measure, a tool to measure. And that measure it's never been done on the Ombudsman. We did great things in the office during my tenure, but let me hasten to add, I stood at that time during time on the shoulders of giants before me. I just took the office where they left it to a little bit higher limit, and we initiated regional offices, because we believe in 2000 or started in 2005 that people cannot, all people had not access to telephones, all people cannot travel to Windhoek, which was the headquarters and the only region or only office in it. And we started with regional office, Keetmanshoop or Shakati. To date, we have 5 regional offices, and I believe my colleague, the current ombudsman, is busy with one in Rundu. I don't know how far is that. Now, that gives the people better access to the ombudsman. But another, if you can call it an achievement, is that they were not there to sit there in Keetmanshoop waiting for complaints from Patani. Now we developed a complaints intake program, where the investigators from Keetmanshoop have to travel all the towns and villages in the south to give people access to them to receive the complaints. And if you look at the reports, you will see how the other one is, I strengthened it, and I called upon them and said, you have to visit schools, hospitals, and especially police holding cells in the prisons, because those persons are detained. They cannot call on the ombudsman, they cannot come to him and file their complaints. So much so that helped that we discovered, the investigators discovered, that people are detained unlawfully in some police cells, or one particular police cells, holding cells. The inmates was without running water for more than a year. With our intervention, we rectified it. We work hard to get a children's advocate in the office to look specifically to the children's issues. You know, that is some of the things. I can encourage the people to read the annual reports, and you will find more.
Absolutely. For a journey to come to such a success, and of course to be awarded with something, it's always that the journey has not been an easy one. So of course there should have been challenges that you experienced as Ombudsman during your tenure. What would you say some of the challenges you experienced during your time was?
That is what the first one I already mentioned. The lack of the National Assembly to discuss the Ombudsman report and the report of the Standing Committee on, I believe, Constitutional and Legal Affairs. That is one of it. In that report, I put out every year, and currently it happens same, the challenges, what our needs are, and the recommendations, the special reports which the Ombudsman made, which was not addressed by particular ministries. That was never addressed, and that report just gathers some dust of where they are. That is one. The limited resources of the Ombudsman. Our budget, if you can call it a budget, was channeled through the Ministry of Justice, and that influenced our independence. You know, the one who controls the purse control the person. So the limited human resources that we have, we could do the much better job if we had more money. But we as the saying what we have in Namibia said, you must do more with less. But you cannot always do it. You cannot always do it. And that is, I appreciate the staff so well. They have to leave their family and children for a week at home while the Far East traveling the country to look after the rights of fellow citizens.
Absolutely. All right, now let's talk about the role of the ombudsman and how it has evolved over the years. What is your observation around that, and what is your judgment or your say to how things have changed in the current ombudsman role?
You know, the ombudsman is a reasonable man, but not a perfect citizen. The ombudsman is a creature of statute. His powers are limited by the four corners of that legislation.
Right.
He can only do what the legislation allows him to do. But I always told the international bodies, I interpret my legislation as broadly as possible. I made, which I did, but I was not allowed to do that by interpretation of statutes. I read into that legislation which are not provided for, just to do my job. Now the ombudsman started in 1807 in Sweden, and in 1966 it traveled to Tanzania, the first country in Africa to have an ombudsman.
Right.
Thereafter, Mauritius. At the time, as a regional, we have a regional organization called the African Ombudsman Mediators Association. At the time, there were, we have 40 some odd African...
Apologies to cut you off.
Yes.
We have very limited time, unfortunately.
Okay,
but
sorry.
I want to talk about the
Yes.
big award, of course, which is what you received as the only and first African to have received this. Perhaps your message that you want to convey to Africans as on the role of ombudsmanship.
The ombudsman can do nothing if he is not properly resourced. My call on all African heads of state and governments to look after the ombudsman. The ombudsman is indispensable in the fight against abuse and of rights and management. If you don't do that, the ombudsman will remain ineffective. And though ineffective ombudsman is an invisible ombudsman.
Indeed.
So that is my message to call on, and I want to call on our own government to do that. The ombudsman can do much better, as I already said, much better, but with a little more better resources.
Absolutely.